That camera is so much better than mine.
It is.
The lighting, that's unbelievable.
It is so much better than yours.
It is. I'm going to start sitting over there maybe. I don't know.
Is it that or is it your camera?
It could be the camera. I don't know.
Then
you know what you're giving away tonight? You don't have to say it yet, but you got your...
I do.
Okay. And what else?
I love you.
You love me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm not keeping you up, am I?
No, I'm good.
All right, because if I'm keeping you up...
I have chicken going in the oven in about 5 minutes.
You have chicken going in the oven in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
all right, well, I'm going to open the show and...
When you take a commercial break, I'll go throw it in the oven.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
I'm Gary Wilson, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Abbate. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. Thank you for joining me tonight. We've got a great show lined up for you. Susie, how are things going over there?
Very good.
You sure?
Yes.
Are we giving away grips tonight or...
No.
You're not?
No.
Why don't you tell me about what you are giving away?
I am giving away 10mm socket kit.
Right.
This is adorable.
It is.
Isn't it adorable?
Yeah, hold it in your hand like that. There you go.
And
Your beauty does detract from the product, though.
some couple of koozies.
Yeah.
And stickers for What's It Worth. And for trivia tonight, posters.
Oh, we are going to do, you know what,
Yeah,
folks? I will be transparent and forthcoming here. Just before we came on, Susie said, by the way, what's the answer for the trivia? And it was then that I realized that I didn't have one. I didn't even have a trivia, but I do have one now. So there won't be a picture and there won't be a question posted on the screen, but somebody's going to get a poster tonight. Okay. So we got that going for us anyway.
We did.
I want to thank our sponsors, Racer X Magazine, the International Motocross Museum, Motion Pro, Taco East, Mako only. I'm sorry, SoCal Mako, who is a Mako only authorized dealer. Arma, Preston Petty Products, Full Circle Racing, and of course, Amsoil. If you want to be on the board just like this, get your name up there, $49.95. Get your name up there. That's a one-time fee. We'll put your name up there for 90 days, and you will also get the poster, a Vintage Motocross Q&A t-shirt of your choice, and an apron. So, pretty strong giveaway here at Vintage Motocross Q&A.
An apron?
Yeah.
You're giving away aprons too?
Yes, we're going to give away an apron, a shirt, and a poster. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. Keep sharing the show. And yeah, get as many people as you can to come down here and watch Vintage Motocross Q&A. The next time, try this segment, as we've called it for many, many years, is, well, it's going to be brought to you by Roy Vanderveer tonight. He's always got a really good video, just incredible stuff from Roy lately. And we've got a good one. This time it's on sealing your exhaust, all right? And it's a little bit more important than you think when that pipe gets up around that collar on the cylinder. Let's see what Roy has to say about that. It's really good.
In today's episode, let's talk about how we can get the most out of this acoustic supercharger. When I tore this bike down, one of the first things I noticed was how poorly the pipe fit. And I thought to myself, wow, for a factory pipe, this thing fits really bad, and the fit problem is right here. And then as I looked closer, I found out why it fits so bad. Look at that, it's a DG pipe, it's not a factory pipe. It's real common for DG pipes to have numerous fit problems, but in particular at the exhaust flange. And when you start the bike up, as much smoke comes out here as it does out the tailpipe. As I mentioned earlier, this is an acoustic supercharger. when the exhaust goes out, gets up through here, hits the reflector cone, it bounces a sound wave back up the pipe and produces somewhere in the neighborhood of about 12 to 14 psi, which is supposed to be introduced back into the cylinder through the exhaust port. If there's a leak here, you're losing pressure, and it is definitely negatively affecting the horsepower output of the bike. Not only is it hurting horsepower, but if exhaust can get out here, dirt and water can get in here, and it's right where the front tire is throwing mud all the time. So in this case, there are dirt scratches all over the exhaust side of the piston, whereas the intake side of the piston is perfectly clean. There's the evidence right there. Not only was it blowing stuff out, but that positive pressure wave going in was pulling dirt and water with it. So it's imperative that we do everything we can to seal this junction up. So let's take a look at the nature of the problem. All Yamahas of this era use a little sealing ring like so. And it's called a gasket, but more so, it's a cone-shaped washer, which is a little spring. And what that's really designed to do is just cushion the interface between the pipe and the cylinder. So the alloy doesn't get beat up so bad here, and so that the pipe doesn't get beat up. If we fit the pipe up onto the manifold here, so it's a little loose, but the big problem is the pipe makes contact here before it makes contact in here. So what we have to do is take up that difference in space. And these little gaskets are precious. I think Yamaha charges like 10 or 12 bucks a piece for these things. So it's not like you're going to stack a bunch of these up. So we need to find something that can occupy that space and give us a seal, and even better if it gives us a little more of a cushion, that's a positive. And for those who want to see exactly what the difference is, and a great way you can check, just take your vernier, measure it out. We've got about 18 millimeters there. And then I'm going to measure in the pipe. And we're at almost 23. So we've got like a 5 millimeter difference that we need to fill. In a perfect world, I think I would machine an aluminum ring and press it into the pipe so that it's there all the time. But what I also use are various exhaust gaskets from different models. Unfortunately, this gasket came out of a box that was not labeled with part numbers, so I can't reference what it came from. But this is one of the reasons having a relationship with your local retailer is huge. I walked in and asked for help. They gave me a box full of exhaust gaskets, and I was able to find one that fit perfectly. Sadly, I don't know what the part number is. So I put that gasket in there. I put the spring or sealing gasket that's original. And now when I slide the pipe onto the manifold, you can still see a little bit of the exhaust spigot. And that's what you want to see. That way we know the manifold is making a seal at the base. Once we pull our springs in, that other exhaust gasket may compress a little bit, but it should never get beat back to the point that the exhaust is trying to make a seal between here and here, because that will never work. The other thing that's also perfectly okay to use on these type of exhaust junctures is RTV silicone sealant. And the way I like to do that is you apply it inside the pipe. That way it stays nice and clean and in there where we want it to be. And it's like most of this stuff, it's better if you let it set up just a little bit before you assemble. With that, you can ensure to get the best possible seal at your exhaust manifold. It matters, and for performance tuning, it is absolutely critical. And just for fun, I'll throw in that I have been in many web-based debates about the fact that they're supposed to leak like that, or there's an acceptable amount of leak. Anybody believes that is absolutely wrong. And the proof is we call those guys lappers. And just so you know, I do have some compassion. If you can't make it perfect, make it as good as you can, and then get out there and enjoy your bike. But be aware that it is not okay for exhaust to be leaking out of the exhaust manifold.
Roy Vanderveer brings us some really, really good stuff every week. I want to thank you, Roy, for bringing us something very informative again this weekend. Yeah, a lot of people overlook that area. And I mean, I've done it over the years too. You have springs that sometimes pull that pipe up and you think, well, that's as good as it gets. That's the way it came from the factory. Or if it's an aftermarket pipe, you don't really go any further than that. But what you've shown us here today was certainly a valuable lesson. Thank you. Next up tonight is the Moto Showcase. The Moto Showcase is brought to you by Preston Petty Products. Be sure to visit them online at PrestonPettyProducts.com. Tonight's Moto Showcase bike is brought to you by Al Roof. And I'll tell you what, if I needed a writer for the show that actually had to give me a script, write things down for me to say, Al Roof would be on the top of my list. I've had to calm the guy down a few times where he sent in some bikes and he gets very detailed in what he has to tell us. Now, the bike that he has ready for us tonight, it's got a great little story behind it, and it's something that I've wanted to mention on the show, and now's the perfect time to do it. Regular viewers of our show will most certainly know our sponsor, Motion Pro, the manufacturer of high-quality cables, specialty tools, and controls, has been a long-time sponsor. Many of you also know Chris Carter, Motion Pro's founder and president, will be inducted into the AMA Hall of Fame October 23rd. But did you know that Chris was instrumental in the development of the Yamaha IT series? In tonight's Moto Showcase, it's Al Roof's tribute to the 1975 Yamaha MX400B based on the IT prototype built by Bill Stewart. Bill was the wrench behind the Yamaha's initial International 6-Day project and campaigned by Chris in the International 6-Day Trials qualifiers, culminating in the motorcycle that became the only Japanese bike to finish at the 1975 International 6-Day Trial on the Isle of Man, netting Chris a bronze medal. Having built this beautiful Chris Carter ISDT gold medal tribute bike in 2009, Al dove into his current project as a diversion from his recent diagnosis with cancer. And as if renovating 2 old houses was not enough, it kept things kept things off Al's mind. In the light of this particular bike, rusty and crusty patina, Roof took a different path, employing the wabi-sabi, a traditional Japanese philosophy that finds beauty in imperfection. I guess that's what I am, Sue. I'm wabi-sabi. I am beauty with imperfection. And the natural cycle of growth and decay, retaining the look of a well-ridden prototype retrieved from some dark, damp corner, followed by a 50-year nap. Features from Bill Stewart's original creation, including here, were an oversized aluminum tank resembling the original, which was cobbled together from 2 aluminum MX tanks cut, stacked, and welded. A Preston Petty Products headlight and number plate. A Preston Petty Products IT integral taillight and fender. Jones motocross bars, product of Gary Jones, and commonly referred to as Can-Am bars. Our grips derived from our original Jones motocross products and from the Gary Jones Supercross Aury produced in the 1970s. A stronger rear brake pedal and adjuster were also included. A dog leg lever assembly set was put onto the bike. A front fender extension from the Yamaha accessory catalog. Al's got a lot of cool stuff here. Here's that light he was just talking about. And yeah, let's get on with more of Al's description of the bike. Chris was kind enough to gift Al a prototype center stand, prototype aluminum rear braking plate, developed to enable quick rear tire changes, and a pair of Jones Motocross Products super grips, all of which were being installed later following the additional fabrication. I got some pictures of that stuff here too. There's that really trick kickstand. There's the tool bag. Okay. What else we got here? Al would like to congratulate Chris on his introduction into the AMA Hall of Fame and thank him for the unwavering support of his lifestyle we all love, especially his past efforts with the Blue Ridge Pathfinders Motorcycle Club, which Al Roof founded in 1991 in the Carolinas White Lightning Cross Country Classic, which he co-produced for 14 years. Yeah, I know Al's been real busy down there putting some events together every year. What else has Al got to say here? Oh, now for the rest of the story, read the chapter, The Carter Connection, in Keith Geisner's compelling book, Discovering 6 Days. Purchase your own copy of this outstanding book at finding49.itemorder.com. Al Roof, what an interesting story that you have put together on this bike. And I love how you laid out the number plate on it and you made it look, I mean, here it is. Here's the original one with Chris Carter way back, going way back here. I guess, I mean, the IT came out in 75. This has got a mono on it, but wow, this is going way back there. Anyway, congratulations to Chris Carter. I will be seeing Chris this weekend at the NorCal Motocross Reunion that happens courtesy of Road to Recovery. And yeah, Chris will be inducted into the AMA Hall of Fame sometime next week. Al Roof, great job. Here's a picture of Chris on that very bike. All right. And that's my prompt for a Preston Petty grip commercial. Because after all, I can't remember everything myself, right? Yeah. We'll be right back after this word from Preston Petty. God said, let there be light, and there was light. Preston Petty said, let there be light, and he gave you this, 1,200 lumens with a rechargeable battery on the back. Hook it up to your bike. No wires, no fuss, no muss. Get over to PrestonPettyProducts.com today. Thanks, Paul Stannard. Yes, thanks, Paul Stannard, for all you do for us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. I saw a couple of comments, and the phone's been buzzing about the opening of the show, and I think they want to see this again.
I'm Garrett Wilson, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A.
Thank you, Jerry Maddox, for getting Garrett Wilson to do that. That was at Barber, I think it was, October 2nd. I think that's where it was, or it might have been another race. I don't know. I think it was Barber. Thank you, Jerry Maddox. We'll be hearing more from Jerry Maddox and some of his adventures on the road this past summer, winning yet another championship, him and Clunker. And he's got us some great stuff like that. Thank you, Jerry Maddox. We got coming up next on Vintage Motocross Q&A. It's my favorite time of the night, trivia. We'll be giving away a poster once again, compliments of Mike McCook and Motorcyclist Illustrated. Be sure to visit Motorcyclist Illustrated on their page on Facebook. Now, if you want to win this poster, which measures 18 by 24, this is a cover shot. Careful there, Susie. This is a cover shot of Racer X magazine back in 2004. Jim Weinert, Tony DeStefano, you've seen it here before, okay? And while Susie asked me earlier tonight, what's the trivia going to be? And I said, I don't know. I did come up with it. So get your phone ready. This is a call-in contest. You want to get your phone ready? It is area code 925-784-2195. That's area code 925-784-2195. Here's the trivia. He won a lot of races throughout the world, mostly known for his years on the Grand Prix circuit. However, when he would ever get a chance to ride at Carlsbad, he never seemed to have any luck there. In fact, he was quoted as saying, "I'm doomed here." Imagine that, I'm doomed here. Who would say the words, "I'm doomed here," speaking about Carlsbad? Area code 925-784-2195. Topless operators are standing by for your phone call right now. Okay. In the meantime, we are going to get on with the Dave Boydston segment of the show. We've been bringing this for, I don't know, 6 or 8 months now, maybe even more than that. Dave Boydston, amsracing.com. But you want to follow Dave on his personal page. He's always bringing you some really great information, even down to, well, look, some people may have thought it was a little unusual. I did. But he brought you a heck of a weather report a few weeks ago from Arizona as it was pouring down there. It was quite entertaining because he was showing you how the rain was coming in his shop, and there was motorcycle parts, and there was CZs up on lifts, and all sorts of amazing stuff like that. But he brings you a lot of great stuff from swap meets, motorcycle events, and things like I'm going to show you just here 1 second. So without any further ado, let's get over to Dave's Classic Corner, and we are waiting for you to call in at 925-784-2195. Who was it that said, I am doomed here?
This is Dave Boydston at AMS Racing out in Mesa, Arizona. And I was just sitting there thinking I needed to do something and list something for people to look at, and that's what this came up to. So this is a Frank's T200. You say, what's a Frank's T200 other than a trials bike? There's his logo. This was his color. I rode the 500 Pro class for Kelvin Franks. Kelvin Franks and Stu Peters started CMC, ran the Pepperell, Massachusetts motocross when the Europeans first came over for Edison Dye. So they're the pioneers in America and Australia for the starting of the new sport motocross for us. Well, I worked for him and rode for him. At first, I'd keep track of point standings, trade for entries on file cards. And later, as I became a pro rider, he sponsored me on his TM400 Frank's bike. He just used plastic tanks, and everything was yellow, and black was his sort of colors. While I was working for him, he was making 11 trials bikes. He would pay me to clean my air cleaner and chain and get my bike ready to go, pay me to keep the points, even though I was in the pro class. I was still getting paid just to work on stuff at his place. He's a good guy. He helped a lot of us. Danny Laporte got help from him. Tommy Croft rode his bike. Mark Anderson. Quite a few different people rode the Frank's bikes over the course of years. He copied the Montesa bodywork off a 247 Coda. Not sure what he did to get the frame geometry, but it's definitely a trials bike. Kelvin made his own front fender braces right there. Made his own fork stops up there. These are metal profile forks that he brought in through Mexico with the Rendali rims on them, Italian hubs and wheels that were used on Carabellas down there. Put a bronze flywheel weight on the ignition, and that really tamed the motor down. There's a weight around the outside of the flywheel that he sweat on there. He copied the Bull Taco little spark arrestor and made his own that way too. That's a Carabella rear wheel assembly in the motocross bike, and he just put overlay sprocket and got the gearing where he wanted. Girling's shocks were from Edison Dye. You get a bunch of those. The cast cap goes in with O-rings, which it needs new ones, but that's just like a Montesa 2. Not Kelvin's idea, but it was his. I'm not sure how the folding foot pegs fold forwards if we lost something in translation somehow, but that's not good. It has a Del Otro carburetor, which is what they ran on the 200cc Carabella. And there was a 175, a 200, a 250, it was all reverse engineered Italian stuff at that time. But this is a Frank's T200. There was 11 total ones made. I had the prototype and this one. I bought them in Gardnerville at a swap meet years ago, and nobody even knew who Mr. Franks was. And everybody on a motocross bike in America who got a factory ride, it's all because of CMC and Kelvin Franks and Stu Peters' determination to make motocross. And their slogan was "Ride with the Best." This is one of Kelvin's trials bikes that he made. Look up Kelvin Franks. You'd be surprised the things this man has made. Thank you. Like and follow.
All right, there you have it. Dave Boydston, a fountain of information, as always. And we do have somebody on the phone with us. Just let me get my computer set back up here so I know what I will be doing after I do this segment. Hi, it's Joe Abbate. You're live on the air. Who am I speaking with?
This is Rick Emmel.
Rick Emmel. He raced all around the world, very, very successful. I couldn't give too much information about his career, otherwise I think it would have gotten a little bit too easy, but he never had any luck at Saddleback. He said, I'm doomed here. Who was it?
DeCoster, Roger.
The great Roger DeCoster did say those words.
I thought you said Carlsbad, but like I said, I only heard the last few.
Oh, wait. Well, I meant Carlsbad. What did I just say?
No, you did. He didn't hear it.
Oh. Okay. No, he was doomed. He wasn't doomed anyplace else. He was doomed at Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Well,
I remember that much. I used to go to Carlsbad every year.
Well, Rick, thank you for watching the show. Congratulations on getting the trivia. Susie's got your address, and we will get you a poster just like this. Compliments of Motorcyclist Illustrated on Facebook and Mike McCook. Rick, thanks once again.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
You are welcome. Okay.
Bye-bye.
And another big winner here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. And do I have a commercial? No, I don't think I do have a commercial coming up. I think what I have coming up right now. Oh, you know what, you guys are dropping the ball lately, man.
Who is?
The viewers. I put up a post every week. If you have questions or comments regarding the show, post them here in the comment section and I will read them. It could be questions about mechanics, restoration, races, whatever it might be. And you post them and then I follow up with a follow-up to the answer here on the show. But that doesn't mean I'm still not going to give you what I promise. 20% off. Everything at Motion Pro. Use code MP9135, MP9135. In the meantime, they did come out with a new tool at Motion Pro. That's this offset wrench. Comes with 12 and 14 millimeter. If you ever try to take a sprocket off of a bike with a wrench that is just straight in line, you can know how dangerous it could possibly be, and you will skin knuckles and say bad words. Don't do that. Get this wrench from Motion Pro. I also want to thank a longtime sponsor and good friend, big time supporter of the show, Russell Waters and Amsoil. Look at these products that Amsoil has. Everyone thinks of just oil, and they do. They make the greatest oil in the industry, no question about that. But they also make things like chain lube, car wash, firearm protectant, different grades of grease, and just so much more. Thank you, Russell Waters. In fact, sitting behind Susie back there, if I put Susie up on camera, see back there? They got brake clean. The other way. No, you're fine. You're fine just like that. They got brake clean. They've got octane booster. Yeah, that's it, Suze. Brake clean, octane booster, silicone, lubricants, all kinds of things there at Amsoil. All right. What else do we have going on here? Oh, I know what I want to tell you. You want to get 25% off Amsoil products? Go to theoilpeople.shopamsoil.com. theoilpeople.shopamsoil.com. You can buy directly from Russell Waters. You get 25% off. You can't beat that deal with a stick. All right, Russell, thanks so much. Everybody's had been contacting me and they have questions and comments, and they're just bubbling over every week about this segment with Ted Boyko called The Expansion Chamber. Everybody loves it because Ted is a no-nonsense meat and potatoes type of guy, says it the way it is. A couple of times I had to tell him that the show is PG, but I could PG? I can. It's rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. So, but sometimes he gets a little carried away. And you know what? It's the beauty of Ted Boyko. Tells it like it is. Let's get down to the expansion chamber with Ted Boyko. 2, 1. Ted Boyko, thank you for joining me again this week on the expansion chamber.
Thanks for having me back.
And you bring a very pragmatic way of you look at it. You're meat and potatoes. This is the way it is. That's BS. This is how it really works. And I think at this point that's what people want to know. And this week I want to talk to you about pistons. And last week we talked briefly on cast cranks and forged cranks, but with pistons you have different tolerances. They expand differently. So let's get into what the difference is between and this. When I'm looking this up, I have no idea what hypereutectic is. Have you ever heard of that?
There's so much stuff out here now that it doesn't. Some of the stuff. Recently I saw some guy knurling the skirts of the pistons. I mean,
Knurling.
them. And that to me is going to add friction
Yeah.
up and down. So I've seen it all. I've seen a lot of crazy shit. I'm big on having some piston. When it comes to pistons, I want some walls, some piston. You know, the new generation motors are like a Formula One car. So they don't even, the piston's not even round. So there's only 2 spots that are a fat point. So only exhaust and intake is going to wear on a cylinder. So you got a round cylinder. The pistons, not even, it's oval. So it's got a ton of play, side play. Tons. And then you want 1.5 clearance on a 450 on the area where the fattest point of the piston is. So someday we could probably do a little video with my mics and show you what I'm talking about. Because a lot of people, I bore holes every day. So you got to take the fattest point of the piston. A lot of people have no clue where that is. On the new generation engines, these things are like ashtrays. There's no skirts anymore. You know, if you notice the side of the piston, there's nothing. So the rings are going to wear out. Like, there you go. There's a good example. There's nothing on the sides. And the only thing you got is exhaust and intake that's touching the skirts. Nothing's touching the side. Absolutely none. On those, and that's probably like a JE piston or something there. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you could see it there where the rings go around. It's like the rings are, that's it. The ring is touching the cylinder. That's it.
That's right. So on those big skirted areas, I'd say a 1/4 inch up from the bottom of the skirt is going to be the fattest point of the piston. So there you go. You're showing me a piston, a Wiseco piston there that's got the Wiseco logo in it.
This one?
So just that one you just had up.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, with that, it has the coating wore off.
Yes,
so
it does.
If you look for the Wiseco, bottom of the Wiseco logo, that's the fattest point of the piston. Now, you notice how there's all kinds of black that it didn't even take the coating off anywhere else. Because why? Because the piston's not even rubbing the cylinder. Do you see that? It's only rubbing.
I do see it.
That area that I told you about.
Yeah.
So I'm it's and then tolerances versus cast and die cast versus forged is a big difference. And I could even do a test on the bench to prove it to you, where I've taken heat lamps and I can measure these things in front of you, write them down, put both of these pistons under a heat lamp and measure them after they're under a heat lamp. And you will be blown away to see how the forged piston grew under a heat lamp versus a die cast.
And I mean, an engine runs at how many degrees?
Whatever. The new generation stuff, God, the stuff, I mean, no matter what, there's whatever degrees we're running them. Bottom line, you need to take care of this. It's an issue, definitely. So
my point was, Ted. My point is, the heat lamp is nowhere near as hot as the engine.
That's right. So and I only do that test to show people how they grow.
Okay.
So they can understand when they're cold. You don't want to fire these things up with a forged piston when they're cold. You fire them up and you want them to idle, but don't be revving these things, because the minute you do, you're going to squeak it. They'll squeak instantly, these forged pistons. They'll grow that much under heat. So
Ted, which brands come with forged? Which ones come with cast pistons? Do you know, or are they all forged?
No, not always. Most of, I would say that almost all the Wiseco's are a forged piston.
No, but what brand? What brand motorcycle?
All the OE, Yamaha, Honda are all die cast. Everything's die cast.
They're all cast.
That's right. All
Huskies, KTMs?
No, because they've gone to Vertex's, using Vertex and other piston brands for them.
Right.
And You know, even CP, that's a forged piston. You know, that's what Mitch Payton uses, I think, all the CP stuff in the pro circuit stuff. Of course, he hasn't made to his specs, but those are also forged pistons. So,
Okay.
you know, there's advantages to having these forged pistons, especially on a guy who's got the plated cylinder on these things. They bring it to a guy like me to take care of it. You're going to go in there and you'll notice when the guy brings the cylinder that part of the cylinder looks like it's never even been touched. Still has the cross. Well, they get confused because they think that the cylinder looks great when it's really not, because they're not looking in the area where it's wearing, and they don't understand it. And it does have an effect. The design of these new pistons on the new generation, on all of the new 4-strokes, has tendency for the rings to wear way more than they would have if we had full skirted pistons like we did back in the day. Because you have piston support. Now that's all about R's, turning RPM. So that's why they got rid of all the weight on these pistons. So these things will turn more R's than they ever have before.
But Ted, correct me if I'm wrong. Are we talking about 4-stroke engines where there are no transfer ports or anything in there to, that
exactly.
the piston is riding on a piece of steel all the way through?
Yeah.
So it doesn't need anything more than what we're seeing right here.
That's right. And then, but the guy that's coming in with a standard wore out 60 hours is going to need me to go in there and make the cylinder round again. And we're going to provide him either a B or a C piston kit for that. So
now, when you say B or C, are we talking about the old days of 10 over or 20 thousandths over, 10 thousandths over?
1,000 increments.
1,000.
1,000. It's so minute that it's ridiculous, because a plated cylinder is only so thick. So you can only hone it so much. You know, a lot of people have no clue you can hone them, but I have special equipment and hones to do these things. And I actually can go in there. I think we discussed this once before. I did all the TAC racing stuff. Yeah. And we go in there with a sun-in hone, with a certain 30-degree crosshatch, and then come back in and polish it with a special hone for plating. And because those guys were squeaking them, they were putting in high compression. I don't know what they were using. They weren't using OE pistons. They were using a high compression forged piston. So he needed a, I forget the guy's name that owns a TAC, really, really picky. But, you know, he gave me specifications that these cylinders had to be just perfect, because they're inline 4s, and they were obviously squeaking them with the forged pistons, and needed to take, like a half a thou out of them, and they have to be perfect. This guy's picky. I mean, he gave me a chart and sent me a note. If you can bang these out like this, you got all my biz. So I ended up doing all of them for those road race bikes.
Ted, let's talk about this for a second. We've been using the term cast versus forged. That is the process of which the aluminum is melted and machined, as opposed to
exactly
melted and poured into a mold.
Exactly. So the difference is that die cast is always going to never grow. They don't grow at all.
When you put them to heat, when they're heated up,
they'll grow very little. That's why I like to do a heat lamp test to prove people, so they can see with their own eyes what these things do under heat. And a die cast is, you can set up the tolerances so much tighter with a die cast versus a forged. So you're gonna get a lot more horsepower out of a tighter clearance naturally. So these die casts, say Prox brand, for instance, are all die cast, every one of them. They're, it's it's an art piston. I don't know if you know that whole deal. It's basically Art, who makes the pistons for Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Suzuki.
Okay.
You'll see under the piston OE, it always has an ART.
Yes.
Well, that brand is from Japan. They came out with their own brand, Prox. You'll notice on every box it says from the Netherlands. It says made in Japan, but then it says office in the Netherlands. Well, they did that because they didn't want to piss off the OEs, because they offer stuff that the OEs don't offer. They offer a little bit beefier rods. They offer for instance, the A, B, C, and D piston kits. If you notice on a YZ250 or a YZ125, on the back of the intake side, you'll notice a stamp on every cylinder, A, sometimes a B, and even a C.
Yes.
Because they want you to know when you go to rebuild it that you don't want to stick an A piston in a C cylinder. Does that make sense?
This, Ted. Yeah, no, it makes complete sense to me. What we learn or what we hear or understand in the dirt bike, the motocross, the motorcycle world, you hear something is forged, and we automatically think it must be better because they didn't take this aluminum, melt it down, put it in a mold. But from what you're telling me in the piston world, is that the right way to go is with a cast and not a forged piston?
Not necessarily. I use both. So if you set up the tolerance properly, you'll have no issues with either one. If you set up a forged piston up like you would a die cast, you're in trouble. You see what I'm saying? Because you got to allow more clearance for the forged piston, because they grow so much more than die cast. So that's the reason why we allow more clearance. So naturally, if I'm running a forge, I'm going to go in there and take more out,
right? For
a couple of reasons. So we don't have that thing expand and squeak on the customer. So yeah, it's important, definitely. And like you said, in the rod world now, it's different.
Yes.
Okay, so
you want a forged rod.
There you go. So for instance, I just did a couple KTM cranks recently, 250 and a 300, and both rods were Wasner rod kits I got, and they didn't have the standard cast ones in stock, which are way cheaper. Of course, I want to get that cheaper one for the customer. Well, I looked at what retail was on the one I just did for the guy because it's forged.
Right.
You know, they're lighter and they look like a Carrillo and this and that. And everybody thinks they're tricker, and they cost a hell of a lot more. So I think retail was $244.
There you have it. Ted Boyko, the expansion chamber. That was only half of our time that we spent with Ted Boyko. You want to see the rest of that? Go over to the Vintage Motocross Q&A page right after I do this show, and I will have it posted there. You'll be able to see it in its entirety. It's about 25 minutes long in total, okay? But you'll be able to see it there, and you'll hear more from Ted Boyko. In fact, I'm ready to give Ted a call and get a new batch of expansion chambers ready here on the show. We are going to take a little commercial break. We're going to hear from our sponsor, the International Motocross Museum, and then we'll be back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A. Got some winners coming up. Get some cool stuff going on.
I'm Gary Semix, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abbate.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
The International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Be sure to visit them online at internationalmotocrossmuseum.org. Motorcycles are in the gate. They are actually on their way to the International Motocross Museum building in North Chicago. It was a couple of weeks ago, or was it last weekend? Some of the Euro guys were there, including Harry Everts, Thorsten Holman, and a few others. They were at the museum, and they're seeing it. They're seeing it as it's making progress. Got some interesting people out, interested manufacturers out there that are stepping forward financially with this. And you are going to be seeing this happen in the very, very near future. International Motocross Museum. You know, if you want to be a sponsor of the International Motocross Museum, well, you are welcome to do that. However, if you just want to be a nice guy and sponsor a nice family show, for just $249.95 a month, you can become a sponsor here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. You'll get your name up on the board behind me, and you'll also receive a couple of other really nice gifts, including a poster, the shirt of your choice, whether you want the cartoon poster or our Vintage Motocross Q&A logo. Of course, in gray, yellow, or black, you'll get your name on the backboard, and you'll get an apron too. As much as Susie doesn't want to make any more aprons and have me give away the place at $49.95, well, that's what I'll be doing. In the meantime, at the beginning of the show, I mentioned SoCal Mako. I do want to thank Gary Kortz at SoCal Mako, our latest sponsor. We're going to have some specials coming up from Gary. And forgive me, you see this over here? You see this thing? It says SoCal Mako over here where my pen. I kind of put that together quick. Sue didn't have time. I put this sign together, as you can see. See the other sounds? How nice they look? You see them all? That's Susie's work. This is Joe the Short Bus's work right here. Not so nice. Susie will have a beautiful sign made for you. It'll be up there next week. Gary Kortz, thank you for being a sponsor of our show. Arma, you've got a beautiful banner up there. Don't forget to use the code VMXQA when you go over to Arma, and you can get some special discounts from them as well. All right? Steve Grandis, Bultaco East. I will be seeing you, my friend, very, very soon at the York Swap Meet in York, Pennsylvania. That happens on January 11th. And while I'm at it, you know what? I have a poster behind Susie back there, the York Swap Meet 2026. But I should do this because I want to have one made where you could see it every week. There it is. 2026 York Swap Meet. That happens on January 11th. There's the Potomac Vintage Riders banquet the night before. There is a motorcycle show as well. They sold out last year, guys. It's getting bigger and bigger every year, and they're selling out sooner and sooner. So get a hold of Bill Nazarod or Mike Slate. You can go to pvrclub.org, but that's for Potomac Vintage Riders. And no, I think they handle, no, it looks like they handle the whole thing there. Oh, no, Mike Slate at gmail.com. Mike Slate at gmail.com for info on vendor space and bike registration. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold it up here one more time. There, Mike Slate, and the phone number. And I'll make a post a little bit later on with that on there. You'll be able to see all that stuff. And I will be able to see all my wonderful East Coast friends there at the York Swap Meet. Jeff Kukoski, maybe Keith Geisner, a couple other guys too. All right. Who else do we have to thank here? Sunrise Vapor Blasting. Look, if you're going to put it in a box and have somebody vapor blast it, you might as well send it to Mark Variester in Modesto, California. 1 day turnaround, very, very reasonable price. Mark Variester. The What's It Worth segment tonight is brought to you by Full Circle Racing. Whoever comes closest without going over of guessing the price that this CZ Twin Piper sold for will get 2 stickers, compliments of Susie Creations.
Yeah.
All right? Now, the thing that disappointed me about this was the fact that the seller of this bike on eBay, they had like no information. But it is a 1965 CZ Twin Pipe 250. This is the bike that Joel Robert and Roger DeCoster both won some championships on. This one says it was restored, and it does look very, very nice, including the anodine finish on the magnesium ignition cover on this side of the engine. Some other nice things I liked about the bike were the chrome pipes, how they were finished, and nothing is truly overdone. I believe it has the correct barroom tires on it. The fenders are fiberglass. They've got the correct dust boots on the front cover. I also like the way he finished the hubs. They're not overdone. They're not powder coated. That flimsy front fender, boy, I'll tell you, those are tough to find. And just as tough to find is that mount that holds them on just above that fender, as you can see it. Correct gas cap, correct cables. Looks like the correct fork caps are in there as well. It's got a really nice seat cover on it. I don't think it's a reproduction, or if it is, it's one of the best reproductions that I have ever seen. Correct shocks as well. There's another good shot of the right side of the engine. Some of the plating not so nice, and that is absolutely perfect, because the plating on a Czech bike that is like 60 years old, they weren't that great in 1965, let alone when you redo one today and you rechrome and replate things. It doesn't come out quite like this. Whoever did this had an eye for detail, and I think they did a very, very nice job on this motorcycle. It did recently sell. It is a 250 twin piper, and it's 60 years old. Mm-hmm. How much you think this bike recently sold for? Just think about all they had to gather for the parts, all the research they had to do, all the paint and the fit and the finish and the shocks and the pipes and the wheels. And that sprocket is no picnic either, guys. It's welded to the hub. Not easy stuff to find. What do we have? 8,000? 9,000? That's as high as you're going, is 9,000? You are tighter than a crab's ass in water at 9,000, I'll tell you that. This bike sold for $10,500 on October 14th. Wow. $10,500, okay? Whoever came closest without going over, you will get 2 stickers. Compliments of Vintage Motocross Q&A and Tom Schaefer 6,400, Broward Sapp 8,495, Mike McCook just a penny under 10,000. McCook,
No way.
Yeah. Roy, 13,000. You're too far over. I think McCook is the winner tonight.
You know what? The funny thing is,
What?
I don't see any of those on my feed.
You don't?
No.
I got
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people on my feed.
Oh, well, I got McCook at a penny under 10,000.
Right,
the bike sold for 10,500. And Mike McCook, you are tonight's winner of 2 stickers, compliments of Vintage Motocross Q&A. Please tell me I have a commercial to play after that. I think I do. We got one more, then we're going to wrap it up. Oh, no, we're coming back with a Did You Know segment from Jeff Kokoski. All right? And, but let's take a little commercial break. We'll hear from Full Circle Racing.
I'm Brock Glover, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and we'll be right back.
I get asked often, what's the most important thing on Clunker? Answer simple, it's me. That's why I use Full Circle Racing wheels prepped by Tom McAllister. So should you. Watch this and learn why. When racing vintage motocross where suspension is very limited, your wheels can be the difference between winning or serious injury. We chose to run Full Circle Racing wheels because of the super high quality materials and the heavy duty spokes used. Prepped by Tom McAllister, I have the confidence on the track to push way harder through the rough stuff and the bigger jumps, knowing my wheels are going to stay under me. Hey, Clunker may be 50 years old, but his wheels are brand new, and yours should be too. Call Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing today.
All right, we're back at Vintage Motocross Q&A, and while I am thinking about it, Susie, are you ready to do the viewer appreciation prize?
Yes.
All right, let me put you on camera, and you can give everybody the big news.
So tonight's winner is Alan Jandebuer.
Alan Jandebuer. You know what, Susie? I know I saw that name a little bit earlier on the.
Oh, you did?
I did, and I think he's a new
viewer.
I think he is a new viewer, and I love to give stuff away to guys that are watching the show for the first time. However, I have nothing to do with that, and that is Susie's choice. Okay,
Yeah.
So say it again, Suze.
Alan Jandebuer.
Okay, Alan Vanderveer. No, that's Roy Vanderveer.
No,
Alan Yonder. It's JANDEBEUR.
DEBEUR.
Yonderbeur.
So send us your address.
Send us your yeah. And his name again, first name is Alan Yonderbeur.
Right.
Alan Yonderbeur. You are tonight's viewer appreciation winner. Get us your address, and you'll get some emergency socket sets.
Yeah.
Compliments of Russell Waters and Amsoil, as well as some koozies to keep your drink either hot or cold in whatever season that you may be in. Next up is the Did You Know segment. This is something put together to us by Jeff Kokoski every week, and it's really, really a good segment. I'm glad Jeff is back. I'm glad Sharon Kokoski is doing much better as well. In fact, she's doing great. All right? What do we got? Did you know? Did you know by Jeff Kokoski? Throughout the 19th and early 20th century, sandpaper underwent significant advancements in the introduction of synthetic abrasives, such as silicon carbide, aluminum oxide in the early 20th century vastly improved the cutting power and durability of sandpaper. Moreover, the development of better adhesives facilitated the creation of a more robust and long-lasting abrasive product. So how is sandpaper made today? Ironically, modern sandpaper does not consist 100% paper backing or sand. All sandpaper today is pretty much made the same way.
Wow.
Giant rolls of cotton or fiber-infused paper are 100% woven material arrives at a manufacturing plant. The cotton or synthetic fibers help to hold the paper backing together when the sandpaper gets wet or is used too aggressively. Now, next, the backing paper gets a coat of resin adhesive applied to it. The first layer is called the make coat, and it will hold the abrasive material to the backing. As the make coat becomes tacky, it passes the adhesive down the side over the conveyor onto the grit material, as we see here in picture 4. Anyway, at that point, the grit and the backing paper are electrostatically charged opposite of each other so that the grit actually jumps up to meet the sticky backing.
Wow.
This causes the abrasive to adhere evenly to the backing, resulting in a very sharp, fast-cutting coat of abrasive tool with the maximum life possible. In picture 5, once the grit has been embedded into the make coat, the roll goes off through a heated oven to dry out the resin. Next, another coat of resin called the size coat is applied over the top coat and the grit. The size coat is applied in a varying thickness and is where some of the magic happens. A thin layer of the size coat leaves more of the grit exposed and creates a more aggressive or lower grit number, while a thicker layer of the size coat covers more of the grit, creating a finer sandpaper. Following the application of the size coat, the roll is again dried and cured, and the finished product is then sent to angled rollers that twist and flex the paper to prevent cracking and to take some of the stiffness out of the freshly manufactured roll. To finish the product, the now finished rolls are then die cut into specific shapes or are cut to create smaller rolls like Joe uses. And that's very true, Jeff. And I'm getting quite an education here on sandpaper. The finished product is then packaged and sent out to retailers. Lastly, we talk about the grit coat itself. And let's move on to that picture. This one right here, very, very interesting. Most people know that the grit number on the back of the sandpaper sheet corresponds to the abrasive on the sheet. The higher the abrasive grade number, the finer the sandpaper. It also corresponds to the number of the size of minerals per inch. The larger the number, the smaller the number of the grit materials. And the grit is sized by passing the material through progressively finer screens and filters. About 90% of the grit used today is made of aluminum oxide called corundum or Wellingtonite. For coarser grades, while synthetically made silicon carbide called carborundum is used for more finer and wet sanding applications because it maintains a consistent cut rate throughout its lifespan. Emery, used in the manufacturing of emery cloth, is also called corundite and is a special type of aluminum oxide recognized for its gray-blue color found primarily in Turkey and Greece. In the future, development of different minerals and improved backings will improve the performance of abrasive products. New film backing and ultrafine abrasive minerals will enable new automated approaches to highly reflective and precision finishes. Jeff Kokoski.
Next time you go to buy sandpaper.
Next time, exactly, Susie.
You'll think about not complaining how much it is.
Exactly. You know, a roll of sandpaper, and you see it. I have it here. It's I don't know. It's about the size of the top of this cup right here.
How many feet? Do you know how many feet?
It's like 100 feet to a roll, something like that. 50. It depends on where. I always buy it from the same place, House of Colors in Santa Cruz. But it's like $39 a roll.
Yeah.
Maybe more. You know, so if you're going through it pretty steadily,
Yeah.
through the 80, 180, 220, 240, 300, whatever you use, and I use 80 to 400. Next thing you know, if you got to order 2, 3, 4 rolls, 40, 80, could be $160 at a time. Look, that's the cost of doing business. I'm not really complaining about the cost of it, but now you know what goes in to making sandpaper as well.
Good
all right.
info, Jeff.
Thank you, Ben Thomas. The Vintage Mini Bike Podcast can be heard the first Sunday of every month. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Ben's Vintage Mini Bike Podcast. This week in motocross history is brought to you by Racer X. Okay. And am I getting a little ahead of myself here? No, not really. I guess not. You know why? Because our friend Paul Griffin in the Mako Minute had eye surgery.
Oh.
I'll see him Saturday down at the NorCal reunion, and we'll talk more about some of the future episodes here of the Mako Minute on Vintage Motocross Q&A. But right now, let's get into this week in motocross history. Here it is right here. Yamaha's Bob Hurricane Hanna gets back to his winning 1 week after the Roger Coster beat him at the Unadilla Trans Am race. This time, the race was held at Lake Sugar Tree in Axton, Virginia. Hanna went 1-1 on his Keith McCarty tuned OW38 works bike. Second overall was Husqvarna's Chuck Sun, with the Coster third after a couple of spilled on the slick Virginia clay. In the 250 class, Yamaha's two-time AMA 125 national champion Brock Glover was the overall winner on a production-based YZ250. And that's what's going on this week in motocross history. You know what's coming up? Just a couple of weeks away. Saturday, October 25th, 10 a.m. till 4 at County Line Church Road in Ruther Glen, Virginia. That's right. My friend George Ackerman has the 5th annual Moto Barn event. Warren Reed will be there. Steve Wise, Barry Higgins. There's a mini Moto Barn loaded with mini bikes. There's the regular Moto Barn. There's going to be look, there'll be food, there'll be drinks, there'll be trophies, a whole lot going on there in Ruther Glen, Virginia. Get a hold of George Ackerman. He is on Facebook. I will this weekend be your MC at the Northern California Motocross Reunion. All right. I think there's still some tickets available. This benefits Road to Recovery. So this is all a charity organization. All your money that you're paying for golf and any other things that go on there will go toward the Road to Recovery. Who are the guests? Roger DeCoster, Billy Grassi, Tom Rapp, Pat Richter, Daryl Schultz, Dana Waxham, Larry Rosick. And of course, as I've been mentioning week after week, Jeff Ward and Ricky Johnson will be there. I just heard today from Charlie Halcomb that Goat Brecker will be there as well. Sadly, Brad Lackey will not be there. Brad underwent some surgery on his ankle, long overdue for Brad Lackey. He's doing well. He's home. So keep Brad in your prayers. And also, Pat Maroney, unfortunately, will not be able to make it. We'll see Pat next year, from what he has told me. Okay. What else is coming up in the very, very near future? You got the Farm 14 MX. That is an ARMA National. It's motocross and cross country. That happens Sunday, October 19th. And actually, it happens Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 17th through the 19th. That's happening this weekend. All right. I mentioned it earlier. If you want to become a Vintage Motocross Q&A sponsor for just $250, you can do that. Get your name up here on the board with all the big boys, and we're hitting nearly 1 million people a month. Okay? Get a hold of me. I'll put your name up on the board behind me. Al Roof, we talked about Al a little bit earlier. Prayers for his beautiful wife, Diane, who also had surgery today. She is home and convalescing. There's a barbecue fundraiser coming up on November 1st that benefits Crowder Creek ARP Church. Al will be down there flipping pancakes, burgers, and ribs. I don't know if that's true or not, but that sounds good. You know what? If there's one day that I wish I was in New Jersey, it's the 26th annual Nesco swap meet. And that's not the day. It happens on November 1st and 2nd. But it's the 26th year in a row that Joe Palazzo and his team have put together the swap meet. And it's just a great time. Guys out in the field, riding bikes, trading stories. Prices are unbelievable. Everybody wants to get rid of something before the cold weather comes in and put some money in the bank. And boy, there's some special deals going on there at the Nesco swap meet. The Kurt Leverton Memorial Hair Scramble, that will be happening. And here are the dates right here. It happens Sunday, October 26th. So that is coming up as well. There are event fees. There is a schedule. There's something going on for everybody, from the electric bikes all the way up to the big boars. And that is the Kurt Leverton Memorial. Sadly, we lost Kurt a couple of months ago in a bicycle accident. That wraps it up for tonight at Vintage Motocross Q&A. I hope you enjoyed the show. What, do you want to see it one more time? I'll show it to you one more time. I like it too.
I'm Gary Wilson, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A.
All right, that's it for Wolsink and Vintage Motocross Q&A. Gino, come here, boy. Come on, get up here, Gino. Oh, boy. Okay. You got it? Come on, sit down, Paddle. That's it for Vintage Motocross Q&A. I hope to see you this weekend at the NorCal Motocross Reunion down in Del Viaga. That is, of course, to benefit the Road to Recovery. Thank all my sponsors of the show, all the people that watch. And in just a minute, I am going to post that Ted Boyko video in its entirety. It's almost a half hour long, all right? We'll see you next time on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Gino, you love me? No? Okay.